welcome to this very special episode of the Indie Music Podcast by alexrainbirdMusic. As always, your hosts are me, Beth and Alex.
Hey guys.
We hope you've been having a great 2022 so far.
Yes, as always, we are recording today's episode as well on video as well as audio. This is currently exclusive to our Patreon page at patreon.com/alexrainbirdmusic, where you can pledge to support us in return for loads of exclusive rewards and content. So yeah, thank you to everybody watching.
Yeah, we're huge fans of the Great Escape Festival, which takes place every year in Brighton in the UK. In our opinion, it's the best festival for new music, and we had such a great time when we last attended in 2019. In this episode, we're feeling super honoured to be chatting to one of the people that makes all of the magic happen. Please welcome Adam Ryan.
Hello, how are you? Good to be on your podcast.
Thanks, and thanks so much for joining us today. Yeah, to get started, I guess, could you just tell everyone listening what your role is at the Great Escape and how long you've been doing it for as well?
Yeah, so my role is head of music, which is fairly broad, but it's basically just involves everything to do with the music side, the live side of the festival. There's a conference, but I deal with the other side of it. I think it's a role I've been doing for 7 years now, which seems like a long time. Yeah, when you've finished one, you go straight into another one, and it changes every year, so it's it never seems boring or gets boring, that's for sure.
So yeah, do you actually pick all of the artists by yourself, or do you have a little team, or is it all on you?
So the booking team is me and Georgie, who I work with, and we contract and offer on the artists and have the final say on who plays and who doesn't play. But the festival's a lot more complex, and there's a lot more partners and politics and people that feed into the process, which makes us different to other showcase events, I guess. So, but yeah, the buck stops with me ultimately.
That's really cool.
That's
isn't
amazing.
it?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are wondering, like, how did you actually start in the industry, and what brought you to the role at the Great Escape?
Yeah, so I always wanted to work in live music, in the live sector, definitely before I even knew that it was something that you could do. I mean, I grew up in a really small town in the middle of England, just used to DJ and collect records and just, enjoy going to parties like everybody else. But obviously when you grow up in a small town, it's, there's not really access to live music as such. So we used to just throw a lot of house parties and, just sort of DJ a lot really and play music to each other. And then as I got older, later in my teens, then you go to the next big town and, used to go to the Road Mender in Northampton a lot and DJ there. And then when I moved to London, I was working in retail, but just sort of working in the Levi's shops and the Fred Perry shop. The whole time I was going out to shows and going out every night, seeing what was out there. And then slowly I started to put my own night on in London and work with a collective of people to put together a club night. I got a job DJing at the Barfly in Camden, which I don't know, used to be quite a big venue. I mean, it's Camden Assembly now, but it used to be like the main venue that a lot of touring artists would perform at, and I used to DJ there. And then they asked me if I wanted to be a junior promoter, and I had no idea what a promoter was at all. And they were like, it's a job. It's what you're doing at the moment, and I had no idea that you could have that as a full-time job, and I just fell in love with the idea of that and took the job, and then since then, you sort of work your way through the music industry until you build up enough experience and enough contacts, I guess, that you can sort of take on the daunting task, which is programming the Great Escape. But it's sort of a gradual thing, really.
So interesting.
That. So interesting. Yeah, thank you. Yes, so you've been choosing artists at the Great Escape for 7 years. So you said you start picking the lineup pretty much straight away after the last festival was ended. That takes a whole year, the process of doing that.
I keep a spreadsheet all year round, which has every country. Well, not every country, but it has about 30 to 40 countries written on it. And then over the year, if I hear something or I'm talking to somebody and they tip me on something, then I'll stick it in the spreadsheet. And then when it comes time to working on, I don't know, French bookings or Austrian bookings or Australia or one of the New Zealand, then I have my spreadsheet to refer to. But normally the festival will start to be booked. Our first announcement September, so my first offer will probably go August time. I try to keep it as late as possible, but I mean, sending an offer for August for an event the following May is still pretty early, especially for new music. So
very far in advance,
but
we do our first 50 announcement, which is our tips for the year. That goes out in September, and the event happens in November. So it's about August, September time I'll start booking.
And the thing is, I guess, with new music is by the following year of the festival, there's all kinds of new stuff coming out, and it's that's why you leave it late, I'm guessing.
There's constantly new music out, isn't there?
Yeah, as you know, people are always constantly releasing music, and also timing's really important. So, if I book something in September, by the time May comes around, the positioning of that artist could be in a lot different.
Yeah.
In a different place, they could be worth a lot more tickets, or heaven forbid, they could be worth less tickets, or have gone off the boil a bit. So it's important for us, or for me, to make those decisions as late, or as try and guess the timing really.
Each year, artists can actually apply to play at the Great Escape. We get a lot of submissions just for playlisting, so I can't imagine how many applications do you actually get every year.
Oh, well, there's 500 artists, around 500 confirmed artists that play each year, and that's around about 630 slots, because some of the artists play twice. So 500 artists get confirmed, and then I think there's about 17,000 submissions online, and then there's obviously people that have representation, like live agents or managers or record labels, that they'll email me separately to that. So
wow,
it's quite a lot to keep across, for sure.
I imagine,
I was just going to say, so when actually someone goes to apply to play online, it goes directly straight to you?
No, that would be a terrible way to work. I'd be drowning in emails.
I did think, wow, his inbox must be mad.
No, that's needs to be some sort of robot for that. It goes onto our system, I guess, and then Georgie, who I work with, will go through the submissions. But we tend to look at the submissions. We kind of group them together, because 17,000 is quite a lot. So I tend to say, hey, let's look at the submissions from this country. Like we're keen to work with Sweden more. So, or hey, has anybody applied to play from South Africa? Let's try and focus in on that and try and work out ways that we can broaden our booking. But obviously, with the European or the UK stuff, we're always really across and on, and try to listen to as much as possible. But there's also other barometers that we, ultimately what we're doing is setting up a radar to pop blips on, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have the artist submissions, which is a great way to find stuff. But we'll also work with, a lot of media partners. We'll also work with a lot of agents, a lot of promoters from around the country. Like I'll always be talking to the guys that are booking gigs in venues.
Yeah.
So we're not just solely relying on artist applications. Mm-hmm. But we try to be a bit more progressive than just apply to play. But the apply to play is the best place to go. But as with anything, it's always better to try and do some more stuff other than just applying online.
Yeah.
Like if you were applying for a job, you'd apply, wouldn't you? But then you'd also find out to see who works there, or find out who the manager is, or
Yeah, exactly.
you have to try and get over that wall somehow.
Sure. I was thinking, how do you know if someone's going to be good live? Does that make sense? Do they just submit like recordings and you've kind of just got to base it off that, or do you like research into their performances as well? That makes sense.
Yeah, I think like music production's like so advanced nowadays. Like people can make some amazing songs, to such a high production value in their bedrooms or home studios that I worry about that less and less, if I'm honest. Everybody seems to be at such a high standard nowadays. Whereas I think before, there used to be a lot of room for error where people, weren't very good drummers or timing on guitars and stuff. But I think the musical landscape has changed so much, and everybody seems to be like really, really good.
That's good.
So, I mean, watching something live is great and really helpful for sure. And, you can find stuff on YouTube or Instagram, even if an artist hasn't submitted stuff. But, I mean, also recommendations, if somebody that has good ears or good taste or that somebody that's out that shows a lot, then you can take people's word for certain parts of it, But it's watching stuff live is always key,
Yeah, and I think in a similar vein, we've been sharing independent artists on our YouTube channel for 11 years now. At the beginning, everything was like we found it all on the internet rather than submissions, but now it's kind of flipped around where we get mostly submissions, I guess, like you do. So we may have already touched on this, but how is that? Do you receive more submissions now than you did 7 years ago, or how has it basically changed the submission process?
Well, I used to have to listen to the demos at the Barfly, like back in the day, and we had a room, and it was floor to ceiling with envelopes packed with CDs, and you'd have to just pull them out of the wall constantly, and then sit there and listen to them, and then mark it out of 10. You could sit there all day and do that. But nowadays, people tend to just, if you apply online, you fill out our form. But if you're emailing me direct, then it tends to just be links to Spotify or SoundCloud or Bandcamp or the latest music video. I mean, that's what I mean. Like the ability to produce stuff by yourself now is so advanced. Like filming equipment's a lot cheaper, especially to rent. It's even cheaper. You wouldn't need to be signed to a major like you used to be able to. Yeah, we get a lot more submissions, lots of links. Nobody's really attaching stuff anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
They used to do that and it used to crash my inbox all the time.
Yeah, we've always loved the concept of the Great Escape, haven't we? So different to your usual festival. It's so unique. Normally you're in like a muddy field, which is fun.
Yeah.
But this is just so different. It's walkable venues all around the city. Why do you think Brighton was originally chosen? And do you think in the future there could be a chance that maybe the Great Escape will go to other cities or even like around the world? Because we always thought it'd be so cool to have the Great Escape, but everywhere.
Yeah. So we do 2 events called the Road to the Great Escape, which are in Dublin and Glasgow, the sort of week before the Great Escape, leading up to it. So we already sort of do satellite events, and that their lineup is a selection of artists that are going to play the festival in Brighton. For me, everything needs to lead back to Brighton because that's the main focus point always. In terms of events overseas, I mean, we did a stage once in, I think it was Slovenia, somewhere. And then we've done we've thought about doing stuff at South by, but I don't know. I think for me, everything has to lead back to Brighton and tie into what we do there. And then what was the other question you said? Do we do any?
Just why Brighton?
Yeah, why Brighton? Why did it start off in?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, Brighton is synonymous with youth culture and rock and roll and rebellion. You know, if you go back to the Mods and Rockers and you know, it's always been a great away day, I guess. And there's so many venues there, so it can sustain an event like the Great Escape. But also there's stuff that you don't think about, like hotel rooms. Like if you're going to invite X amount of people to a city or a town, then where are they going to stay? So there has to be the infrastructure there. And also, it's, you know, Brighton, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's down by the seaside, you can't beat it. So it's quintessentially English or British. It has a great history of youth culture and rebellion and a great music scene as well. So, and, you know, trying to get the music industry out of London is difficult. So this way they only have to go 60 miles down the road.
Yeah, it's not too far away.
No, but you'll be surprised. It's difficult to smoke them out their cave, I tell you. So, yeah. So that's why we did it in Brighton.
It is a stunning area, isn't
we
it?
love it. Yeah, it's perfect, really. Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your favourite part of what you do, and maybe it's the same thing, and your favourite part of the festival itself?
I love the travel aspect is amazing, obviously, but you know the thing that's attached to that is the ability or the privilege to be able to go to another country and experience the live music in that country. And then how that relates into everything, you know, how that relates into politics, how that relates into the cultures of different cities and different countries. Like that's amazing. And we work with a lot of export offices. So, you know, if it's a left-leaning, not to get political, but if it's a left-leaning government, you tend to find that they have a bigger budget to spend on exporting artists into the UK. And if it's a right-leaning government, then there may be less funding for the arts. I think that's a kind of rule of thumb. But yeah, the travel aspect and being able to be on the ground and experience venues or artists in their own territory with a view to bringing them to Brighton in May. I think that's something I love. Just exploring music. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't normally sort of go, oh, what's the indie music scene like in Italy, or like, oh, what's the dance scene in Australia? But they're the sort of conversations and thought patterns that we're having. So you know,
brings them together, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're always looking to see what's taking off in some part of the world. So that's keeping across, you know, youth culture and the musical landscape is and how you can apply that to the Great Escape in Brighton. That's my favourite part about it.
Yeah.
That's so cool, yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Yeah, and we find it difficult to see every artist that we want to see over those 3 days, since there's so many great acts out there that you choose, and obviously you spend a long time choosing them, and I guess it's even worse for you. You can't be in 10 places at once to see them all, so how do you deal with that as well? Do you just kind of pick your ultimate favourites, or...?
Well, most of them I've probably seen before the festival, so... So there's an element of that kind of gets rid of all the buzzy shows because you've already sort of seen them. I mean, the stuff from overseas, you know, that would be good, you know, catching up with old friends at those gigs that you've met whilst on travels, and maybe seeing an artist for the first time if you haven't been able to go to their hometown or city. I mean, it's just best to hide during the Great Escape for me, if I'm honest. I mean, you just get all manner of people asking for stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it can be tough. So, I mean, bob and weave really for me. Just try and go to the shows that might need some additional support or help. Maybe some of the bigger buzzier ones maybe just to avoid altogether. I try and see as much as possible, but also we have there's a delegate pass as well. So there's sort of two sides to the festival. There's the public facing part, and then there's the conference, which is mixers and drinks receptions and stuff. So I'll probably be at those talking to a lot of our export office partners or media partners, making sure they're okay.
Yeah. We're so excited that The Great Escape is back in Brighton this year after 2 years, finally.
Yes.
It's on the 11th to the 14th of May, so it's getting a lot closer now. Tickets are still available, so if you haven't got yours yet, make sure you go and grab them. What are you most looking forward to about this year's festival, Adam? And from the artists that are already announced, who should we particular watch out for?
Yeah, so I'm just glad to get back into Brighton, really. We've had 2 years without the event. Yeah,
it was so sad because it was it's cancelled, and then it was it's cancelled again.
It was online last year.
It was online,
It's good to get back.
Yeah, the online stuff was great. That was really fun to work on, and really important for us to be able to lend our platform to new music and new artists during a pandemic when options were limited for them. Venues were closed, and people were hunkering down and hibernating and taking care of themselves and their families, more importantly. So for us to be able to give our platform over and to do an online event was great. But for me, the beach site is coming back, so there'll be a 2,000 capacity venue down on the beachfront. We're looking to do some bigger spotlight shows with some exciting partners. But some artists that I'm keen I can push for you now. Thames, we're really excited to have her on the bill. She's a huge Nigerian artist that's going to have a really big year this year. Eni, Priya Raghu, Daisy Brain, Drea Mack, some more, Gustav's indie rock band from New York. There's so much, and there's still so much to be announced. They're really looking forward to continue booking it and
definitely
getting it over the line.
Yeah. In 2019 we saw Foals, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
and that was that was amazing, wasn't it?
That's insane.
Yeah, that was a great show. Yeah, well, that's the thing. So we say new music, but obviously Foals are a band that have been around for a while, but they have a heritage with the festival. I think they played the first one, or the second one. So and also The Great Escape. If we do those bigger acts, it's about bringing them back to the venues where they started. Do you know what I mean? So Foals, I think at that point were probably selling out stadiums, or I think they definitely went on to headline some big festivals. So for us to be able to showcase them in that venue was great. I thought they were so tight. They were they were just come off tour. It was just such a professional outfit.
It was
they were great. Yeah.
So excited for this year, aren't we?
Yeah, so excited.
It makes it even more exciting.
Counting down the days.
Yes. So we've also got some community questions from our community, but the last one, but from us before we do that. You've been doing this for quite a while now, but if you could just pick a handful of artists or just a specific year you're especially proud of from the last 7 years, what do you think you'd go for? A tough one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Dome show, our biggest show, we've always been quite good at timing. That's a great example of timing. I think we did Skepta in the Dome show, which the Dome is a 2,000 capacity venue. It's our biggest venue that we use. And we had Skepta headline that, which at the time I think people were like, oh, that's weird. Why have you got Skepta on? He's been going for 10 years. And then when he dropped, Konnichiwa, it was just, then everything made sense and people are like, oh, okay, cool. And then I think the following year we followed that up with Stormzy, who then went on to headline Glastonbury. And then we've done, Lewis Capaldi, and he obviously went on to headline stadiums, but they were all at pivotal points in their career. just before the cusp, and I think that's what the Great Escape is really good at. So my favourite parts of my job or past things of when we go up with something and people are like, what? And then 6 months later they're like, fuck, that was really, really good. Yeah. So I like that. But there's so many things. Oh my God, we did slaves on the pier once. We put them on the fairground ride. So there's a horror hotel, and it kind of goes in this way and then comes up the top. I don't know if you can see that. You go to the bottom, and it's kind of 2 floors, and we put them on the top floor. So they were like playing on the horror hotel out onto the pier, but the piers are Victorian piers, so all of the wood slats are Victorian, or it's not really built for putting 1,000 people on, especially like a sort of slaves sort of punk show. And it was a hairy moment. Let's put it that way. It was. When we try and push the festival like that, we're always trying to look for those moments that only the Great Escape can do, and that was definitely one of those. But we've also done. I think we did a gig in a sewer once. We did a gig there's a prison in Brighton which they used to throw all the old mods and rockers in, which we did a gig in there, but it only holds about 50 people. But we're always looking for those places to unlock, so to showcase those hidden areas of Brighton that you don't normally get to see, and then put a gig in it.
That is so cool.
Love that. That's awesome.
The beach one's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beachfront one, we spent a lot of time there in 2019.
Yeah, that's great.
Because don't you do it by like the country? Is that right?
Was Australia, I think.
So it was Australia in 2019.
Yeah, we do the Aussie barbecue. Like that Sounds Australia are fantastic. They're a great export office. If there's anybody listening from Australia, I'm sure they'll be aware of the great work that they do. And if they don't, they should definitely get in touch with Sounds Australia. But yeah, they host this barbecue. They do it around the world at different events, and we're lucky enough to host the UK version of it. But yeah, they have I think they took over the outdoor stage, the big stage, and I think they did a whole three venue takeover down there. But yeah, you get a sausage in a back. Did you get one of those or not?
No, I don't think we did.
No, missed out though.
Missed out on the sausage in the back.
Anyway, on to the community questions now. Everyone was very excited that you're coming on because it's definitely a different podcast for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we normally interview musicians, but this is
really
like
good.
A really special one. But so these are all from Instagram and our Discord. So the first one is from Richard Reedy on Instagram. He said, what is the best way of getting your attention when applying for the Great Escape? I'm sure you have this a lot, but is there anything specifically that you look for?
Well, you just look for people that... We just look for people that are dominating or performing in their hometown or city. So, and we look for people that, you should be, if you want to play the Great Escape, you should be playing in your own town or city constantly, once a month. If a touring artist is coming in, then, you should be in the list of suggestions to support them. We're not just sitting back like waiting for people to submit to us, so we're actively on the front foot looking for people. Yeah. So I would just concentrate on doing what you're doing and just try and make sure you're playing the right venues, I guess. The venues that the touring circuit is part of. So check that. It's not really one thing we look for, I guess. If you're playing regularly and you're getting picked to support the touring artist, then the chances are we're probably aware of you. I look at who the media partners are for the Great Escape in previous years. You might want to contact DIY or Liner Best Fit or So Young. But yeah, I would just keep plugging away and telling people that you want to play. Talk to your BBC introducing representative as well. That's always a good place because BBC have a stage. and that's programmed via the input of local BBC introducing DJs. So they're normally a good place. If you're getting played on your local BBC introducing stage, then radio show, then that's normally good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up is Taylor Latham from Instagram. Maybe this is kind of a similar line. Does being an independent artist affect the chance of a successful application, or is that like mostly what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's a degree of everything, really. So, obviously, working with artists that have agents, that that helps the artist, because the whole point of their job is to get music in front of bookers and venue promoters and stuff. So that does help. But I always make sure that we keep spaces or channels for independent artists to get onto the event. So yeah, it's not really something I look at. It's more, I always just look at who's in the team. Like, have they started to build a team? Like, is there a manager on board? Is there somebody doing press? Is there somebody's mum or dad helping them out? Just somebody to help. Because when you come to the Great Escape, you should really just focus on performing live. Like, you don't want to have to be running around like trying to meet people. Like, your sole purpose should just be, I just need to focus on performing, and after the show, making myself available. So I think the start of a team is important. And then also it just goes back to like making sure that you're gigging or playing in your local area, and that you're engaged with your local music scene. And then most of the time we tend to pick up on it.
We had Henrik Hallberg from Instagram. Are you booking any Swedish acts for the Great Escape this year? How do you keep up with the Nordic scene?
I've got some friends in Sweden that we keep in contact with. A lot of promoters and club bookers and stuff out there. That's what I mean. Like, I make the final decisions and I pick the artists, but there's a lot of people that channel those artists towards us and help us select. But yeah.
Second last one, Hong from Discord, which lives in Vietnam, asked, will the festival be live streamed and or recorded?
Yeah, so we're looking to do a hybrid event for this year. And I think that will grow year on year. So we're just trying to align with partners that have the capability to do pre-records. Yeah. And then I think there might be one or two stages which are live streamed, but I'm not too sure how beneficial a live stream is, to be honest, especially for Vietnam, because like when the live stream is going live, they may be in bed. Yeah. So I think there might be. I think it might be a post-event thing, but hybrid events is the way forward for us, especially when we're engaging with global artists and the global music industry community. But it's just about trying to do it in a way that's beneficial, because like if we live stream everything, it's only going to get seen by one side of the globe,
exactly,
which is counterproductive. So do we then do another? Do we do 3 times? And then if that's the case, then we might as well just do them all pre-recorded or post-recorded, recorded and posted out afterwards.
I was going to say, I guess last year might have helped go in that direction since it was online only.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody was at home last year, weren't they? Everybody was trapped in their house. So, can you compete with outside? I don't know. Exactly. Mark Zuckerberg's invented the metaverse, so maybe I'm wrong, but nothing beats the real life experience for me.
Yeah. Agreed, yeah.
Our final question from the community is from Water One Clouds on Instagram. What do you want people to feel aesthetically when they attend the Great Escape Festival?
Yeah, it's set to the backdrop of Brighton, so, that sets the tone on everything. So, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I guess aesthetically, I wouldn't want anybody to get overwhelmed with the amount of artists that are on. I'd probably say do some planning beforehand.
Definitely.
Yeah, but just enjoy it and just get carried away. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So visually, it's difficult not to get carried away.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything better, is there, than like having a gig to go to and it's like on the beach.
Yeah.
Or it's like...
Yeah, or even just like... I can't remember what the venue it is now, but there's one venue, it's literally just down the slope where they went to that last year, remember?
Yeah, Coalition, I think.
Yeah, and you come out and like, literally the beach is all in front of you. It's just like, and like the piers out there, it's just amazing,
Yeah.
But before we do go today, was there anything else you want to add or say before we leave you?
No, just everybody come and check out The Great Escape, look at the website, see the array of artists and genres, and yeah, I mean, buy a ticket and come down and get involved, because there's a lot going on. 500 artists, 4 days, it's live music and conference, so yeah, looking forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in to this special episode of the Indie Music Podcast. A huge thanks to Adam for joining us today as well. It's been really, really interesting. We can't wait for the festival in May. If you are interested in finding more information on The Great Escape and to purchase your tickets, go to greatescapefestival.com.
Yeah. And another big thank you to everybody that's watching us on Patreon. Make sure you're following us on Spotify, Apple Music, your favourite podcast platform as well, so you can know as soon as a new episode comes out.
So thanks again, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be at the Great Escape Festival.
We will, yeah.
So let us know if you're there, and we'd love to see you. Thank you so much again, Adam, and take care.
Bye.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye.